Hello and welcome to MalMakes. I've gotten a lot of questions over the years about how I ship paintings, so I thought today I'd talk about the two different ways I ship canvases. I found these two different ways are the safest ways to ship canvases. Now, the first one is a little bit cheaper, but it takes a little bit more effort. And the second one is a little bit more expensive, but it's a bit easier and it's the most safe way to ship a canvas. I'm always very worried about my paintings as they go from where I live off to its new home with who's ever purchased it. So I always want to do the best thing I can to protect it during shipping. I found that these smaller paintings do best the cheap way as opposed to the more expensive way just because of their size. So canvases that are about 8 by 10 like these or 11 by 14 like these, I'll package up the cheaper way. The first item I need is some craft paper, and this is acid-free craft paper, and it comes in white and brown. You definitely want it to be acid-free, and you also want it to be like a natural craft paper. You don't want it to have any plastic coating, any foil like you would find in gift wrap, or anything like that. And I'm gonna start by unrolling some of it here on my workspace and just weighing it down with a ruler. And I'm going to flip my canvas upside down because I'm going to be doing some stuff on the back first. Now on these stretcher bars, I'm just going to take a pen and I'm going to write the date the painting was done. I like to sign it. If it has a title, I'll write that. And then I write any notes, whether there's varnish or an isolation coat on it, just in case someday the customer who bought it wants to do anything to it. They'll know what's on the surface of the canvas. So I have the information written on the inside of the stretcher bar. Some of the canvases I can write it right on the back, but this one's covered with canvas, so I'm just gonna write it on the inside. Now I wanna cut off some of this craft paper so it's big enough to wrap it up like a present. And now I'm just gonna pretend like it's a box and wrap it up. So I've taped everything up so it's in there securely, and I'm just going to set it off to the side for now. The next thing I'm concerned about is the corners, so I'm going to make some corner protectors. There's different styles of these and different ways you can make them, but this is the way that I found most useful that I can customize for different size canvases. This is my template for this particular canvas. It's 3/4 of an inch deep on the canvas, so I want this to be an inch, which is just a little bit bigger than what I have. That gives me some space for the craft paper and then just a little bit of room for it to kind of float in this space. And you can find these templates online from different people. I'll put this particular one down below so you can see where I got this particular design from, but I found it works really good for paintings. And the way I reproduce it and customize it is I lay my canvas down first to draw a right angle, and then I measure out here how far I need it to be for how tall. Like I said, this one is going to be an inch, so I measured an inch on each side, and then I just kind of filled in this little flap here, and then these pieces up here are just right angle triangles. And then I cut it out, and then I go onto some cardboard, and I'm just going to trace the outside and this little notch in on the cardboard. So in order to keep this easy, I'm just going to line up two edges with the two edges of this cardboard that are square, and I'm going to trace around this side, and then here for this angle, down the front, and then just this little corner here. And I'm also going to draw in this notch, so I know where that is. And then I can remove my tracer and cut on all of my lines. So I need to reproduce these lines that I have on my tracer onto the cardboard because those are going to be my score lines so I can fold this cardboard nice and cleanly. So I started by going on the bottom part of this notch and lining it up with this edge right here, this little corner. And I'm going to do the same with this corner and lining it up with this little bit of edge here on the notch. The next step is to draw in the inner lines, and I'm going to do from this corner here all the way up to where the notch touches this top edge. And I'm also going to go from where this pen line hits the top edge to this corner. Then I can score all of these lines with my X-Acto blade and my metal ruler. And I'll just line that up and do a couple cuts on top of my pen mark. I don't want to go all the way through, but I want to break through that corrugation and leave that very bottom layer connected. And then I can take that little notch that I drew in and cut that out entirely. And as long as I've cut all of these score lines right, I should be able to just bend it and it shouldn't fall apart on me. I can just kind of fold it all together, tucking this little piece inside, and then tape right across this seam. So you'll need to do this 4 times so you have 4 corners, and then I'm just going to kind of lay them out and set the canvas inside of all of them. These function like bumpers or cushions to kind of protect the entire thing. So I do want them to have a little bit of movement in them. And I'm going to wrap the entire thing up in bubble wrap just to kind of keep it all together, but also protect it even further. Just like the paper, I can tuck in the bubble wrap ends and wrap those up. When you're looking for a box, you want something just a little bit bigger than your entire canvas. So this is just a priority mailer from the United States Postal Service, which you can get for free if you go in, as long as you use them for shipping. The cost of shipping is included in the box price, so when you bring it into mail, that's when you pay for it. So I'm just going to open it up and then close off one end. And I really like these boxes because they have the sticky part on it. I still use a little bit of tape, but it comes with some sticky stuff, so you can start by sticking that part down. Once you have the one side put together, you can slide in the canvas just to test the fit. And if it's too big, you may need to use some more bubble wrap or packing peanuts. And I'm just going to grab some packing peanuts and kind of tuck those inside so it doesn't slide around and hit the edges. Once it's all secure, you can just fold in the side flaps, take this side sticky piece off, and then just fold it all the way in so it's nice and secure. You can tape off these edges just to make it more secure if you'd like, but this one's not actually getting mailed today, so I'm not going to seal it completely shut. But you can see that if I shake it, there's not really any noise of it moving around too much in there. So it's nice and secure in the box, and it's going to safely get to its destination. One thing you never want to do is wrap a canvas in bubble wrap. Because this is basically just a polymer, and this is also just a polymer, they're both plastic. With the heat during shipping, what can happen is they can adhere and stick to each other. I saw this happen to someone online where they had shipped a canvas like this, and then the client had taken off the bubble wrap and there were perfect dots across the entire surface. So that's why I wrap all of my canvases in acid-free paper. This is another one of my canvases. It's 18 by 24 inches, and this one I'm going to package up the super safe but slightly more expensive way. And this is going to start off the same way as the other painting. I'm going to lay down some craft paper first and then lay it face down. And you can see the back of this canvas is a little bit different than that last one. And I'm just going to write on the edge all of that same information. So I'm just including my note here. I like to tuck it inside of the canvas here because I know it will get found, it won't get lost in any of the packaging. And just like the other one, I'm going to wrap this up like a little present. On this one, I'm not using any corner protectors or bubble wrap. The box I'm using, it's designed to float in the center, so it doesn't need any of that. These are the boxes I use, and they come from FedEx, and I'm not sponsored by them. I just really love these boxes. They've been really great. I think they're perfect for shipping these canvases, and I just buy these from them at the store. They're a little bit cheaper. If you bring this part in, they'll package it for you, but it'll cost a little bit more because they're doing some of the work. And then I'm just gonna cut off these bands and then pull out the insert. I can just set the insert aside for now. I need to work on just this outside part. So these come packaged flat, and I can just kind of open it up to see where the fold is, and then I can open it up that way, make sure it's nice and square, and I can fold these inner flaps down, and then the outside flaps in, and then I can just tape this entire side shut. I normally do 3 across the top, and then I tape the long way, and then I do the opposite spaces across the top of that. Now I can flip this over and set it aside. This is the insert that's inside the bigger box, and you want to start by opening it all the way flat and sliding your painting underneath this plastic sheet. You want to center it the best you can, but if you find that you still can't make it so these lines aren't covered, like there's some lines here, and then there's dotted lines on these sides, it's too big for this, and you'll have to go with the larger frame box, but you want to get it as close to center as you can for the best protection. So I'm just going to very carefully, by handling the edges of my painting and not kind of pinching it in the middle, slide it underneath this plastic. So this kind of turns into a tray that slides into the big box. And it's a little complicated the first time you do it, but you want to start by taking these outer edges all the way out to these points and folding them underneath the entire thing. So I'm doing this side, and then I'm going to come over here and lift and fold back this side all the way to those points. Folding these sides kind of makes this plastic stretch and hold the canvas down. So it sits there in the middle and it floats, and it's not going to fall off to either edge. Once those parts are done, you can take the side, fold it up on the dotted line that's closest to the plastic, and then there's 2 more dotted lines. So it folds back on the first and back even further on the second. Now this tray is ready to go in the big box. So I'm going to pick up this tray and slide it into the big box. It really only goes one direction, but I'm going to kind of line it up with the opening in the top of the box and slide it all the way in. So the tray is in there really secure. You can see the painting is basically just floating inside the box. That's why I really love this box. It's a really cool idea with the way they've designed it. From here, I'm just going to fold in the top flaps and tape across the top like I did on the other side. So now it's all taped up and ready to mail. If you have any specific questions, you can leave it in the comment and I'll make sure I get back to you. Also, these 3 paintings are available on eBay right now, so check the link down below. And if you're interested in supporting me on Patreon, you can check out supportmal.com. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again next time.